So this former president fled his own country to Libya and then to Iraq and finally to Saudi Arabia, where he was granted an asylum as a result of an unpopular and unwise decision he took, which brought him to his knees. This is the story of His Excellency, the President for Life, VC, DSO, MC, Lord of all beasts of the earth and the fishes in the sea, Field Marshal Al-Haji Dr. Idi Amin Dada, as he named himself. The former president of Uganda, a soldier, a ruler, and a tyrant. A man who awarded himself several titles and left behind one of the darkest moments of African history. But beyond the headlines, the horror stories, there are contradictions and unanswered questions. Idi Amin's early life is shrouded in mystery. He was born around 1925 in Uganda. He came from humble origin and raised by his mother after his father abandoned the family. He had little formal education, no elite upbringing, no political connections, just raw physical strength and ambition. As a young man, Amin joined the British colonial army, the King's African Rifles. There, he found something he has never known before: power. He quickly gained a reputation not because of intelligence, but for brutality and obedience. He was the kind of soldier who followed orders no matter how violent, and that made him valuable to his masters. In 1950s and 60s, as African nation pushed for independence, Uganda was no exception. When Uganda eventually gained independence in 1962, power shifted to Prime Minister Milton Obote. Obote needed loyal men for his reign, and Amin was a perfect one, ruthless and loyal. Amin rose rapidly through the ranks of the Ugandan army, but behind the promotions, there were whispers, accusation of violence, smuggling, and secret killings. But that did not shake his master Obote. Obote protected him until when he decided to really find out the actual truth behind these accusations about Amin. Whilst Obote was out of the country attending the summit, Amin made his conceived move. Tanks rolled into Kampala, the capital of Uganda. Radio stations were seized. Obote government collapsed overnight, and Amin declared himself president of Uganda. At first, people celebrated as usual for every new change. He promised freedom, he released political prisoners, and he smiled for the cameras. But behind that smile was a thought nobody could ever imagine. The world watched cautiously. The nightmare was just the beginning. Very quickly, Amin revealed his true nature. Opponents began to disappear without any hints and without any explanations to anyone. Soldiers, intellectuals, journalists, and anyone suspected of disloyalty gone. Estimatedly, between 100,000 and 500,000 people were unalived during his rule. But here is the chilling part. Many of these deaths were not recorded. Bodies were dumped in rivers, families were silenced, and the truth was buried. Amin didn't just rule Uganda, he controlled it through terror. There are stories about Amin that sounded almost unbelievable. Some claimed he kept human hairs in refrigerators, others claimed he practiced cannibalism. And even to date, historians remain divided over the life of Idi Amin. What is confirmed is his psychological warfare. He cultivated an image of unpredictability, and he gave himself outrageous titles: His Excellency, President for Life, Field Marshal, and so on. This wasn't just ego, it was a strategy. The more absurd he appeared, the more dangerous he seemed, and fear kept him in power to keep him going. In 1972, Amin made one of the shocking decisions ever. He expelled around 60,000 Asians from Uganda. Many of them were born there, and so apparently they were Ugandans. But he said no. They were given 90 days to leave. Why? Officially, he claimed it was time to return Uganda to citizens. But the hidden truth was it was about wealth and power. Their businesses were seized and their properties were taken. Uganda's economy collapsed soon after that unfortunate decision. But Idi Amin didn't care. To him, power mattered more than stability. As years passed by, Amin became increasingly isolated. It's because a lot of people and his colleague head of states didn't like his service to his own people. Western nations condemned him and human rights groups exposed his regime. Yet he found allies. He aligned with Libya's Muammar al-Gaddafi and even admired figures like Adolf Hitler praising him in public. The world grew alarmed. But inside Uganda, dissent means death. Fast forward in 1978, Amin called the shots that ended up to be a fatal mistake that cost his reign. With no justifiable cause, he invaded neighboring country Tanzania. It was reckless and unprovoked, and this attack triggered his downfall. Tanzania, led by Julius Nyerere, it is just defend, they advanced. Out of anger, Ugandans in exile in Tanzania joined the Tanzanians to fight Idi Amin. Amin's army, once feared, began to crumble. By 1979, Kampala, the capital of Uganda, which happened to be the seat of Idi Amin, fell. And guess what? Amin fled. Just like that, that single mistake has collapsed his empire. After his fall, Amin fled from country to seek refuge. He first fled to Libya, then to Iraq, and finally to Saudi Arabia, where the Saudi government agreed to grant him asylum on one condition: he must never again involve himself in politics, which he had no choice than to agree. So eventually he settled in Saudi Arabia. But there, something strange happened. The man who once ruled through terror lived quietly. No trials, no prison. In 2003, Idi Amin died. Not in a battlefield, not in prison, but in exile. Now one will ask, what remains Idi Amin's legacy? A country scared by trauma, families still searching for truth, a history that still haunts Uganda. But some great lessons can be picked from here about how quickly hope can turn into horror. Because Idi Amin didn't just rise alone. Idi Amin wanted to be remembered as a great leader. Instead, he became a warning, a clear reminder that power without accountability can turn any nation into a nightmare. And that sometimes the most dangerous monsters don't hide in shadows, they stand in plain lights. So be watchful. Shout out to the good people of Uganda. Until I see you again, take good care of yourself.